Hello and welcome to another episode of Snarky in the Suburbs, the podcast. Today's episode I've entitled Relationship Icks. We all have icks, romantic icks, relationship icks, and I decided to do this theme because Valentine's Day is just around the corner. So what better time than to dig in to things that make you go, bleh, that give you the shudders, the heebie-jeebies. The little yuck, yuck, yuck. I can't believe I had to see that, or worse, endure it. So let's get straight to it. But first, let's go over the other stuff that's going to be in the podcast. I have a Dear Snarky letter coming up next. I have 4 signs your marriage is circling the drain. Circling. These 4 signs are just my opinion, and I could be, horribly wrong. But, what else is new? Then I have a peeve, which is love languages. And I have a question of the day and also a snarky confession that has to do with my very own wedding. Okay, let's get into it. First, let's do the Dear Snarky letter, which I sent to my phone. Okay, here it is. Dear Snarky, I have just recently finalized my divorce, and the dad of my daughter's best friend, the girls are both 12 years old and have been besties since kindergarten, has asked me out on a date. We've always been very friendly with one another, and I feel like this would be the ideal way for me to get back in the dating game and get the rust off, so to speak. I really want to say yes, but I don't know if this will upset my daughter. She might not even care, and I don't want to say no for no reason. But I'm afraid to even ask my daughter what she might think, because what if it makes her feel weird? Signed, I'm ready to put myself out there. Okay. All right. Dear ready to put yourself out there. You're not putting yourself out there with this man. Absolutely not. Too many repercussions, too many consequences. It is going to make your daughter feel weird, and you know that, which is why you're afraid to ask your daughter, because you know she'll be like, what? No. If these girls, if they're 12, they're in middle school, which is a rough time to be a kid. If they've been besties since kindergarten, why do you want to blow it up by dating the best friend's dad? I don't care if you go out on one date. It's just going to get weird. And you know what else is going to make it weird? The best friend's mom, once she hears that you went out on a date with her ex-husband, it's going to get weird. It's going to get all kinds of weird. So my thought is a friendship at 12 years old that girls have had since they were 5 is too precious, is too important. And you need to protect that by saying, hey, no, our girls are best friends. We're not going to date. Sorry, I'm not going to go home. How about coffee? I'm not going to go out for coffee. Maybe in 10 years when they're out of college, if we're both still single, we can circle around this again. Don't do it. It's just going to be like a hot mess. And if you want to break into the dating game, don't do it with your daughter's best friend's dad. Do it with some losers, okay? So you can practice. Like you said, get the rust off. Don't do it with this guy. Plus, oh my God, think of the gossip. Oh, did you know that the 2 little girls that are best friends, well, the mom is now dating the dad. No, who needs that kind of drama in their life? I would not wish that on anyone. Put your daughter first. Always put your child first and say no to this dad. There's a lot of other guys you can date. There's a lot of other guys. You don't have to go. I mean, I get it. It feels safe. This guy, it feels safe, but you're going to regret it. And you don't screw up friendships. You're going to put your daughter first. You shouldn't do it. Or 1, you would have written me the letter. And 2, you wouldn't be like, I don't want to ask my daughter, because you know what she's going to say. So absolutely not. That is the biggest no I have. Do not date this man. Now, let me know in the comments if you've dated one of your kids, parents, and it worked out fine. I'm going to know. But my initial reaction is, if you're a 12-year-old girl and you're in middle school, as a parent, do not do anything to upset that dynamic. That should be the main thing you're thinking about. Your daughter's already gone through her parents getting divorced. Don't add to it. No. There's probably nothing in the world that could convince me that this was a good idea. So you asked me, and that's my advice. Hard pass. No, the hardest of passes. So that's what Dear Snarky's got for you. Okay. Y'all, do you think I'm right? If you think I'm wrong, let me know. But I always love being told I'm right. So you can go ahead and do that too in the comments. Okay, next up, I have compiled a list of the 4 signs that your marriage is circling the drain. People, this is just my opinion based on my experiences. You could have me go over the list and be like, good God, woman, my husband, we do all those things and we are the happily married couple in the universe, the galaxy. What are you talking about? It's just my opinion, people. So roll with it, okay? But it's based on experience, years of experience of living in the world. Okay, the number one sign that your marriage is circling the drain, and I'm going to do the circling the drain motion because it makes me happy, is vow renewal. I've known 3 people that have gotten vow renewals, and they have all gotten divorced. Never mind all the celebrity couples. I mean, on The Real Housewives, if someone gets a vow renewal, you know that marriage is doomed. Doomed. So, and I get it. I get why you do a vow renewal. Like, let's say, you've had some issues in your marriage or your marriage feels stale or something like that, and you go to therapy, or you and your spouse, like, we're going to double down on this marriage, man. We're going to make this work. And one of the ways you're going to show the world is kind of like a proclamation that this marriage is going to go the distance. You decide to do a vow renewal when both of you probably know deep down that this marriage isn't going to go the distance. Now, the thing I don't understand about vow renewals on the most basic level is why you've already gotten married once. Throw a party, but don't do a vow renewal. Plus, why would you want to spend all that money on a party? Why wouldn't you want to go on a fantastic trip? That's what I don't get. Also, if I had to shop for a wedding dress again at my age, I would rather get a divorce immediately. It would be less painful to get a divorce than to be my age and shopping for a wedding dress. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Sherry, slow down. It's not like you've got to wear a bridal gown, but you still have to wear something wedding-ish. Okay, I'm sure like you want to do like white or something. No. Oh my God. The thought of it makes me queasy in my stomach. No. I just can't. I just can't with that. So that's just me. But the vow renewal, I get it. But the reason I get it is because I know it's a warning sign. Definitely a warning sign. If your marriage is fine, you have no reason to do a vow renewal. Why? We're great. We're fabulous. Why do we have to renew our vows? We tell each other we love each other every day. It's fabulous. It's when you're like a little afraid that things are going south where you feel the need to do that vow renewal. No shame in anyone that does it. Absolutely no shame. But of the 3 people that I know that did vow renewals, they're all divorced. Not a single marriage of those 3 lasted another year. Did not even last 365 days. No, did not even last a year. And, think of all the money you wasted. So there's that. Also, I think I would just be embarrassed to do it. Like to be saying my vows again, that's just me because I'm weird. It would feel odd. To me, it would feel odd. But that's number 1. Number 2 is what I'm going to call the get a room couple. This is the couple that cannot keep their hands off each other. It is like, it's a rub-a-dub-dub on the shoulders, the back, the kiss on the cheek, the nuzzle on the neck, constantly holding hands, playing footsie under the table, maybe even a big makeout session, which I never want to see. I never want to see that. My eyes don't want to see another couple making out. Again, just me. And I'm going to be honest and tell you that I had a couple friend and they were a get-a-room couple. And I was jealous. I'm admitting that. It was when I was younger. Now I'm old enough and I'd be like, I'm not jealous. I'm just like, God, they're still like that hot for each other that like in public, they can't keep their hands off each other. Like, what the hell? Good God. So a little part of me was jealous. Like, what's going on? And then, although deep down I knew not to trust it, but at some level I was like jealous. The man was cheating on his wife. Yeah, they also ended up getting divorced. He was cheating on her, and the all lovey-dovey, nuzzly, rubby-dubby-dub rub down in public was, I'm guessing, to convince everyone else that he wasn't cheating, or to convince himself that, I still have affectionate natures towards my wife. I'm going to do this. Or maybe the wife was suspicious that something was going on. And he's like, well, I'm going to show her that nothing's going on. I'm going to convince her that nothing's going on. When indeed something was going on. So yeah, I don't trust that at all. I mean, y'all, even if this is terrible, this says so much about me and none of it good. That when people hold hands all the time, I'm like, why are they holding hands? There's this couple that would walk every day. It could be 110 degrees out. I'm not kidding about the 110. And they would walk holding hands. Do you know how sweaty my hand would be? If my husband tried to even touch my forearm, I'd be like, get off. I mean, no, I'm sweaty. It's gross. But holding a hand, smushing, sweating. And they're still married. So I think they're the real deal. I mean, they're still walking every day in front of my house holding hands. So they're the real deal. But I'm just like, ugh, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Okay. So that is number 2. Coming in at a hard number 3. Grand gestures in front of a crowd. And by this I mean, okay, there's always one person at the office whose husband sends her like a ton of flowers, like on her birthday, Valentine's Day, anniversary. I mean, it's a huge ass bouquet of flowers. You're like, oh my God, I didn't even have that many flowers at my freaking wedding. So many flowers. And you're like, once again, you're thinking that your loved one is failing you. You're like, oh my God, geez Louise. Okay. These are the people that like the grand show of affection. Now, what I was also thinking is, why do you send all these flowers to work? It's mean, because she's going to have to take this whole freaking bouquet home. How do you get that home in your car? You put a seatbelt on it, hope to God it doesn't tip over. It's a lot. It's a lot of flowers. Just send it to the house. But no. The person who sent it wanted everybody to know how fabulous he was. There was this girl I worked with. Her husband always went all out. I mean, all out. And then the day he sent something that was like all out, he would always show up at the office and everybody would go, oh my God, he's such a great husband. Oh my God, those flowers are gorgeous. Oh my God, I wish my husband would do that for me. But I and another woman there knew that she was like in a living hell, that she was stockpiling money, already was talking to like a divorce attorney to figure out, she had 4 kids, a way to get out of that marriage. A way to get out of that marriage safely, where she would still have the home. And but that was her husband, always in front of other people, just acting like the perfect mate, like Lance romance. But in reality, behind closed doors, he was awful. Really, really awful. Now, I know that everyone's spouse that does this doesn't mean they're awful. This is just me telling my stories. And this is a good story, and I think it's either in Snarky in the Suburbs, Back to School, my books, which you need to buy, or 4 Seasons of Snarky. Or maybe, I think it's in one of those. But let me tell you this story. So once upon a time, we had these neighbors, and they were a cute young couple. And we had just moved into the neighborhood, and I got a knock at my door. Knock, knock, knock. I go to it, and it's the guy. And he goes, hey, we're having a scavenger hunt. Can I put one of the clues at your house? Will you participate? And I'm like, oh, a scavenger hunt for your kids? He's like, no, for my wife. And I'm like, excuse me, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, every year for anniversary, I do a scavenger hunt. And, she gets clues around the neighborhood to find out what her anniversary gift's going to be. And I thought this was exceedingly odd. I'm thinking, why wouldn't you just give her the gift? Why make her work for it? But I said yes, because I was new to the neighborhood. I mean, what do I know? Okay, yeah. So they do this big scavenger hunt. She comes to my house to get a clue, goes everywhere else. And by this time, all the neighbors are following to see what's the gift? What's the gift? And that year it was a car. So she got a car. So, and everyone was like, oh my God, what a great husband. For my anniversary, we went to Chick-fil-A with a coupon. So, I mean, people were like, oh my God, this is amazing. What a romantic couple. I was thinking, what a living hell. So the next year, this guy comes to my house, knock, knock on the door, wants me to partake in their anniversary scavenger hunt. And I say no. He's like, why not? And I'm like, it makes me uncomfortable. He's like, uncomfortable? And I'm like, yeah, because I don't know. I just told him straight up, why wouldn't you just give her the present? He goes, oh, her looking for it's part of the fun. Now, let me add that she would wear a costume related to what the gift was going to be. He would lay out a costume that she had to wear. So this year, where I said, no, thank you, she had on a grass skirt, okay, that you could buy at Party City in their luau section. And then she had on a coconut bra, which I'm thinking he had to order that special. It was winter. Her midriff was open, and she had on some flip-flops. So she's running around a neighborhood in a grass skirt, coconut bra, and flip-flops, picking up her clues, in this scavenger hunt. And, neighbors are following, like once she came to your house, then you'd like follow and see what the thing was. Well, that year, the anniversary gift was a cruise. And everyone was like, oh my God, again, he's so romantic. He's so fabulous. He's so great. That year, they didn't make it the full year until she filed for divorce. She left this guy. People couldn't understand it. Everyone was on his side. It's like, oh my God, he was so romantic. Why would you leave a guy like that? Meanwhile, because I'm bitter and kind of a bitch. And where people see good, I see bad. It's a personality flaw that I probably should get therapy for. So I'm like, thank God she divorced him. That's horrible. And then I would talk to my neighbors and try to point out who makes their wife run around the neighborhood in a costume to look for clues for her anniversary gift instead of just giving her the damn gift. I go, it's all about him. This whole thing was nothing about her. It was all about him. So we move. We weren't run out of the neighborhood. We just moved. Okay, so then a couple years later, I see her in the grocery store. And I go, oh my God, how are you? How are the girls? They had 2 little girls, all this kind of stuff. And then I ask her, I go, God, those scavenger hunts, did you ever like any part of that? And I go, they made me feel uncomfortable. And she stares me down. She stares me down. And she's like, made you feel uncomfortable? She goes, think of how it made me feel. I go, well, yes, because I felt uncomfortable for you and then even more uncomfortable. And she said it was all like just a ruse. Oh, oops. She said it was all just a ruse. And she never got that car. She didn't keep that car. Okay. It was like a 6-month lease. And that cruise never, ever, ever happened. So it was just all for show. All for show. Because it was all about him. It was all about the spouse. It was not about her. So those grand shows of affection, the look at me, look how great I am, I'm the perfect spouse. Oh, people, I am very suspect of any of that and thinking the worst. Okay, and lastly, and then once again, this could just be me. You know those couples that do everything together? This is the guy that shows up for a gal's lunch. Like you're going out with your girlfriends for lunch and the husband shows up and you're like, well, I want to leave now because this is a girl talk, not a guy talk. And and then usually the husband just won't sit there. Okay. He won't just be a lump on a log and sit there, which also is uncomfortable. But they want to have a chat with the girls and, get into the girl talk and chat. And you're like, no. And then they'll mansplain about something. It's like, get lost. We want to have a conversation without any guys, and they have to come to everything. And they're always by their wife's side. And she can't do anything without her husband. He's always right there. I'm thinking bad thoughts about that. 100%. That's odd. So, and in my experience of my 63, almost 64 years on planet Earth and my 40 years of being married, red flag to me. The biggest red flag though, is that grand gestures in front of a crowd. The spouse that is seeking the attention. It's not for his loved one. It's all for him. That is a red flag that is flapping so furiously like it's in a tsunami. You don't even see a flag. You just see red, red, red. That's what that is. 100%. Yikes. Okay, now I want to go to my peeve. My peeve is love languages. Whoever thought that up, don't like you. Okay, a love language should be a romance language, which is like Italian and Spanish and French. Okay, I don't like this love language thing. And then whenever someone shares that their love language is getting gifts, I automatically do not like this person at all. It's one so childish. It's like asking a kid, what their love language is. If you explain to a child what their love language is, what makes you happy? What are you happy when somebody does something for you? They would say getting gifts. When my kids were little, my son would have said Thomas the Tank Engine and my daughter would have said My Little Pony. It just shows that your maturity level is very low and you're also very materialistic. No, I don't like it. If my husband and I had a love language, it would be low maintenance. We both appreciate that we're low maintenance. I couldn't have a high maintenance spouse. If I had a spouse that I had to do a bunch of stuff for, that required me to do everything with him, to be the cruise director and plan his life and do, no, our marriage wouldn't last. It wouldn't have lasted 8 weeks. I would have been out of there. Couldn't have done that. I need somebody that is capable of taking care of themselves and also entertaining themselves. They do not need me all the time. I can't even with that. No, terrible, terrible, terrible. But then I had a thought because, I kind of pride myself on being low maintenance. And then I had this thought. I had this thought while lying in bed. I was thinking about this podcast. I was thinking about me being low maintenance. And I had this thought. This is my thought. What if I'm not low maintenance? What if I'm high maintenance? But my husband's gift to me, his grand romantic gesture, is letting me believe I'm low maintenance. Like, what if? What if? He's like, I know Sherry thinks she's low maintenance. I'm going to let her just think that. I'm never going to correct her. Okay, if that's what he's doing, that's really romantic. I mean, yeah, that is better than any bouquet of flowers for your husband to just let you be delusional like that. So if he is letting me be delusional about me being low maintenance, I love him for that. Very, very much. But yeah, this love language thing. Besides that, okay, I can't stop thinking about, am I high maintenance? That's circling my brain. I tried to move on and I couldn't. Am I high maintenance? I'm going to say no. I believe with every fiber of my being that I'm low maintenance. So I'm going to go with that because that makes me happy. Okay. Then I have a question of the day. A new thing for us, a question of the day. Is wanting or being super romantic inherited? Like you see your parents do it, so you expect it, or you think you should do it for your spouse. For example, my parents were born during the Depression. My mom, till the day she died, was rinsing out Ziploc bags to reuse, and she would wipe with a paper towel and then let it dry. I mean, my parents were very, very practical. I never saw my dad give my mom jewelry or, any expensive gifts like that. The best gift my dad ever gave my mom was, the year was 1973, and what showed up at our front door, ladies and gentlemen, but a Lady Kenmore dishwasher. That woman wept tears of joy. Tears of joy. I've never seen my mother so excited and happy when my dad got her a dishwasher. We were still old school people. We were still washing our dishes by hand. That woman was never so happy to receive the Lady Kenmore dishwasher. I mean, it was a sight to behold. So excited. And then I know that I'm my mother's daughter 100% because a couple Christmases ago, I got a Dyson vacuum. It was the Dyson pet vacuum. Not just any old Dyson, but the pet whatever, dander, hair, whatever. This Dyson pet vacuum picked up all of it. I got it and I got teary-eyed and I jumped up and down and screamed. I was so happy. In fact, I was so happy and my husband was so impressed with my level of happiness that the next year he got me another Dyson. So I had one for upstairs and one for downstairs. So happy days were here again. That's what makes me excited. I don't know if I'd gotten a big diamond something if I would have been as thrilled. Probably not. Probably not. The Dyson says, I love you to me. So I just wonder if you have to see it. If you have to see your father give your mom a bunch of gifts like that, make a big showy thing that you think that's what you're supposed to do. Or if you see that, you think that's what, you should be getting if you're not getting that from your spouse and something's wrong. What do you think? Is that inherited? Are you romantic because that's what you saw at home, or are you more practical because that's what your parents did? I don't know. I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know because I'm super practical and my husband, we're both practical people. Like to me, if I get tires from Costco, I'm the happiest girl in the world. I mean, yay for tires. So that's what I think. Also, I'm going to tell you right now, if my husband out of character started showering me with gifts and flowers and got me some expensive jewelry, I would think that someone had violated the HIPAA rules, and I was actually had a terminal disease, and they told my husband first, and that's why he was doing all that stuff. That's what I would go. I would go immediately to that. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Am I dying? Because this is odd, and I don't like it. So there's that. Now to my confession. I give wedding advice and brides, mother the grooms, and and I'm always like, let the bride do what she wants, listen to the bride. This is my wedding confession. I did absolutely nothing for my wedding. I showed up. The only thing I did for my wedding is I picked out my wedding dress. My mom did everything else. When I showed up at my wedding, the whole thing was a surprise. This is because I got engaged at 22, married at 23. Right after I got engaged, I had to get a job, and I got a job in TV news reporter, and I had to focus on that because I wanted to work my way up. So I was so invested in my job that I didn't want to make any, like, who cares about tablecloths, who cares about this or that. I go, Mom, you just do it. Oh, and the smile on her face, I will always remember, because her and my dad had eloped when they were like 18 and or maybe 17, and she never had a wedding. So I think she lived through me with this wedding. I'm like, you've got great taste. Whatever you want, I'm gonna like. My mother planned my whole wedding. So I think it was great for me because I just went, wow, great job, Mom. Because then I was a guest at my wedding. I think so many brides get stressed out because you're the host and hostess of the wedding. So you're like, oh my God, the hors d'oeuvres came later. Oh my God, that's not how I wanted this cake to look, or they should be bringing out the champagne by now. So you can't enjoy it because you're the host and hostess. Me, I was the guest of honor and didn't have to do a thing. It was fabulous. Would I do this for my daughter? Just plan her whole wedding so she could just show up and be surprised? No, I would not. Because she's older. She knows what she wants. And I would not want to face her wrath if she was disappointed. I wouldn't want the stress. I wouldn't want to invest the time. And I wouldn't want to live in fear of disappointing my daughter. I would never do that. Looking back, my mom was brave. She was brave to say, yes, I'll do it all. Didn't run a damn thing by me. Not one thing. Zero. But I loved it. But yeah, I would never do that with my daughter because basically, I might be fearing for my life a little bit. And she would never relinquish that much control because she's older, which is how it should be. The average age of a woman getting married now is 28. Average age for a man, 31. They're older. They've lived life. What did I know at like 22? I knew nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that confession. Was it super juicy? No. Was it insightful? Indeed it was. Okay, you guys, I hope you've had fun. I want to let you know I've written 5 books. 5 books, they're all super fabulous. All you need to do is go to Amazon.com and in the search bar put Snarky in the Suburbs. And all my books will pop up, and they're fun, audiobooks, paperbacks, ebooks, and they'll make you laugh. And there's a lot of heavy stuff going on in the world right now. Who doesn't need a book to make him laugh? So please go check it out. And thanks for listening. This is so much fun. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you agree with me, well, I want to hear that. I want to hear that. Okay, everybody go out and have a super fantastic day.